And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Brunswick Township Council meeting for August 14th, 2023. Please rise for the salute to the flag. Remain standing for a moment of personal reflection. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, please call roll and read our statement of adequate notice.
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zimbicki.
Here.
Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Cusculo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Resolution 23-230, adopting meeting minutes from our July 24th meeting. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Is there any clarification on these minutes from council? Seeing none, please call roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a proclamation recognizing International Lifeguard Appreciation Day. Councilwoman Zimbicki, would you take that over?
Yes, please. Thank you. So I'm very honored to get to present this proclamation to Crystal Springs staff today for a number of reasons. One, I'm the council person on the Rec and Parks Board, but also as president of the East Brunswick Education Association, we have been working with the Crystal Springs staff, I think for the past 3 or 4 years, John, right? Where we host a Splash Splash for our elementary special needs students and their families. And it has been so well received, and the community members have just appreciated the professionalism of everybody at Crystal Springs. And it's very special to my heart, and therefore you are very special to my heart as well, maybe for another reason or two as well. So I just want to say that we want to recognize what you do every day. The public does not understand the task and the responsibilities that you face and some of the difficulties that go along with it. Mike Reisner, as the head of Park and Recs, does an amazing job leading all of you. And I want to give a big shout out to John Roche and Erica Greenstone for your day-to-day leadership. You are true rock stars. So what does the public not realize what you do? Well, the number one priority, of course, is safety of your guest, our guest in East Brunswick. And you do that wonderfully above all else. So we want to thank you for that. But your job is not always appreciated. I see that. Sometimes I go on Facebook and I see some of the comments that are made and I hear some of the things that are said. And just always remember, that's the minority. That's very few people, but sure does have a loud voice sometimes, right? You have so much responsibility, cleaning up after the guest, listening to complaints about online ticketing, dealing with unhappy patrons who need to exit the park when there's lightning in the area, right? Rationalizing with unhappy patrons who simply just do not like some of our park rules to keep people safe. But all of you do it with professionalism and grace in the interest of safety and in the interest of providing excellent public service. So on behalf of the mayor and council president and the council, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our lifeguards, our supervisors, our water attendants, our maintenance crew, our assistant managers, our managers, our park rangers, and the entire Crystal Springs Department for your commitment to providing the best safety and customer service to all of our patrons. We hope you all come back next year. And for those of you going to college or back to junior high or high school, we wish you an awesome school year, and that also goes for our teachers in the group. For the rest of you returning to the workforce in other locations, or those EB staff who are going to be focusing on other areas of Park and Rec, we hope you have a great fall, great winter, great spring, and can't wait to see you back at Memorial Day. So thank you so much, and I would like to read the proclamation. That was just my intro, sorry. But again, soft spot, right? So this is in appreciation for International Lifeguard Day. Whereas International Lifeguard Appreciation Day was founded on July 30th, 2020, to honor and appreciate those professionals who are saddled with the responsibility of making sure pool facilities and beaches are safe for visitors and ensuring that they are guarded while they enjoy a swim. And whereas the lifeguard profession became a necessity as the result of increasing deaths and injuries recorded in aquatic facilities more than a century ago. And whereas around 9,000 people reportedly drowned every year. Today, almost all recreation facilities and beaches employ the services of various lifeguards to bring the levels of drowning incidents down to a bare minimum. And whereas lifeguards instruct and keep constant watch on our guests to prevent injury and rescue them from life-threatening accidents. And whereas lifeguards are the frontline heroes of the beach, pool, lake, water park. They are first responders, trained and certified to assist swimmers and perform life-saving measures when necessary, often putting their own lives at risk. And now, therefore, it be proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, on behalf of the entire community, recognize the vital role lifeguards play in protecting swimmer safety and urge the entire community to express appreciation and heartfelt thanks for this exceptional service. And while this particular day is called Lifeguard Appreciation Day, we know it takes the entire village, and we thank you very, very much. John, Mike. Did you want to say anything?
I just want to thank the council, the mayor, for your continued support of what we do at Crystal Springs. If you have not visited yet this summer, we have 20 days left that you can take advantage of coming to see us in action. And we hope that you have a safe rest of your summer. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you to this wonderful staff here tonight for all that you do to live out International Lifeguard Appreciation Day every day in keeping our staff, keeping our facility, keeping our patrons safe.
Dana?
We have a couple other things.
So Rob Zuckerman, thank you for letting me come up here on behalf of Assemblyman Sterling Stanley. He couldn't be here, but on behalf of him and Senator Dogman and Assemblyman Karavinchik, they wanted to present this as well. So, I mean, we know the great work that you and Mike, Erica, and all of your staff and lifeguards do. And I know it's Lifeguard Appreciation Day, but I think this was a little, I'm going to read this. I don't typically do it, but it's geared for specifically for you folks. And I think it's really well written and really highlights like what you do. So the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to salute the highly esteemed lifeguards and staff of Crystal Springs Family Water Park in the Township of East Brunswick, Middlesex County, in appreciation of their extraordinary dedication to providing a safe recreational environment for all visitors, and demonstrating tireless vigilance and an unwavering commitment to duty. This exceptional group has elevated their work to an art form, exemplifying unparalleled professionalism, alertness, and proficiency in their steadfast efforts to prevent potential tragedies and allow guests to enjoy summer activities in a safe and inclusive environment. The people of the state of New Jersey are genuinely indebted to hardworking and civic-minded individuals personified by the lifeguards and staff of Crystal Springs, whose time and energy are devoted to strengthening their communities and improving the quality of life for the neighbors. And by repeatedly applying their expertise and outstanding work ethic to the benefit of their fellow citizens, the lifeguards and staff of Crystal Springs have earned the respect and admiration of all who know of their accomplishments, and they've set a standard of excellence toward which others might strive. So on behalf of the state legislature, we present this resolution.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Cohen?
Yeah, I just wanted to add just a few lines because I think Dana basically said everything. But the number of those people who are trained and able to deal as a first responder, whether it's in medicine or police or firefighters or lifeguards, while there's a lot of us in proportion to everybody, it's really a relatively small group of people that have those skills. And I know that many of you could have gone out and done a lot of other things this summer where you would have had jobs that might not need not have been quite as time consuming as this, where there's really very little downtime and you always have to be on because when there's an emergency, it's not something that's planned. Those happen at the times when you're often not expecting it. But when you're able to have that skill and be able to do and have somebody's life within your hands, that is an awesome responsibility. And I know that this summer has been a challenge. It's always a challenge when you're dealing with the public, but you behaved honorably. You did what you had to do at the times when it was required. And I think on behalf of the entire township, we really couldn't be more proud and appreciative of the fact that you gave of your time when you had other options to work for your fellow members of the community. That's honorable, and I thank you for that.
Council President?
Mr. Criscuolo?
Yes, this morning, coincidentally, I received an email from a resident. It says, "Good morning. My family and I visited the water park yesterday for the first time. I'm writing to you because I would like to praise all the staff on their dedication to their job. I felt that everyone was helpful and well-trained. I felt that they were really enforcing rules and watching the children very carefully. I felt my children were safe in the pools, even if one swam a little further away from me. I watched a lifeguard jump into the pool when one child was having difficulty staying afloat in the deep end. I was near him, and I didn't even notice that the young man needed some help. I really liked that the staff came over to assist within seconds. I cannot stress enough how comfortable I feel as a parent there. Thank you for all your dedication and hard work. We hope we will visit real soon. Thank you." That's from a resident that came in this morning. I think that says how we feel. And as the administrator, I always say, I can't be prouder of our team, and I really appreciate it.
Council, anything? Want to call us into recess so we can get a photo shoot? Okay, please, in front. Okay, I call the meeting back into session. Township Clerk, will you please read the public hearing statement?
The issuance of a new plenary retail consumption liquor license pursuant to the historical method, NJSA 33:1-9.1 and NJSA 33:1-19.2.
Thank you. At this point, I'm going to surrender the discussion over to our attorney, Mr. Michael Baker. Mr. Baker?
Thank you, Council President. This is a first for the council and for me after doing this for 30-some years. The issuance of a new liquor license under the historical method. You may recall there are two ways to issue a new liquor license, which the town is entitled to every 3,000 residents that we have. There's the highest bidder method, and there's a historical method, which is what the council has chosen. The historical method allows the council to consider price, which in this case was set at a minimum bid of $425,000, but it also allows you to consider the economic impact on redevelopment, location of the proposed liquor license, and the proposed use for the liquor license. There's a public hearing required for this. There's a representative of the sole person, a sole bidder respondent on this who's in the audience, and I think our executive director of the redevelopment agency also would like to make a few comments. The council can consider location, consider whether this is advantageous to our redevelopment process, whether they like the use, whether they think there's a benefit to the economic impact of the community, and if you so think so, later in the meeting, you'll have the chance to vote affirmatively on the issuance of the liquor license. The issuance of the liquor license would be effective once the purchase price of $425 is paid and any other fees, once a purchase contract is signed, and once the police complete the background investigation, which would have been done, but the officer was away last week. So with that, if you would want to open it up for the public hearing, Council President, we can then proceed.
Yes, we can open this up to the public, and then you have representation who would like to address the council.
Yes.
Please.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, Council President. My name is Christopher Minks. I'm the Chief Legal Officer of Russo Development. I'm also here, however, and more pertinently, I'm here on behalf of EB Liquor License LLC, which is an entity that's commonly controlled by EB Development Urban Renewal LLC, the designated redeveloper of our Route 18 corridor properties. That property is located at, well, I guess the current lot designations have changed based on our approval, but basically it's the property at 215 to 219 Route 18. It's former Office Depot, former Zaycon strip mall. It's a property that we've been working on with the township for several years. The opportunity to acquire this liquor license came up, and we formed a commonly owned and controlled entity. So it's commonly owned and controlled principally by Edward Russo, who is a principal of the redevelopment entity, the designated redevelopment entity. The purchase of the liquor license is specifically intended to be utilized as part of the redevelopment area and of the redevelopment project at the subject property. Principally, it's intended to be utilized, as has been outlined in our application, with the initial phase of that development, which is a multifamily mixed-use project that incorporates several locations of retail on the ground floor of the initial proposed building, at which there are probably 2 or 3 locations that are programmed generally for restaurant use, but the intent being that it would be for a destination restaurant. You know, a place of gathering, a highlight point of the retail portion of our development, and certainly something that will activate the green space that we're creating, the park-like, boulevard-like atmosphere that we're trying to cultivate at this redevelopment. And it's really a crucial element of any type of destination retail. It's, you know, it'll have greater hours of operation. It'll draw those parties not only from within our planned multifamily development, but also patrons from outside and from the community at large to enjoy that type of a destination restaurant in that, like I said, park-like or boulevard-like setting. We have identified prospective floor plans in our application because they were requirements of the application, candidly. It is not strictly programmed at this time. Obviously, its use would be subject to our finding and leasing to a proper experienced restaurant operator. We do not intend to operate it or concession it. We intend to apply that license to that ultimately identified user at a then specific location within that initial phase of the redevelopment. So what I just wanted to stress is that we are not someone that's coming and applying for this license to utilize it and simply then travel with it around East Brunswick and put it where we choose. Obviously, that's the right of an owner of a liquor license once it's held. However, this is being purchased specifically and has been discussed with members of the redevelopment team specifically to enhance this specific redevelopment project. I'm here really to just make sure you understood that element, which we believe to be crucial to the success of our redevelopment project. That project is multi-phase, and our intention, though, is really to anchor the initial phase of the redevelopment with this type of a use.
Thank you, Mr. Minks. I didn't have any questions. The clerk and I have reviewed the application. It's complete, other than the background check and the payment of the fees. They did make their $20,000 deposit for the bid.
And if I may, Mr. Baker, we also did submit to Madam Clerk, and to the police department, the completed application, all the requisite schedules. The police department has all of our documentation for the background check. I do not believe the fingerprint appointment has been made because Mr. Russo is a recent awardee of liquor license within the last few years. Those licenses have since been transferred to end-user operators at others of our projects. So there is a provision in the law, and it was recognized in the application that he may not need another fingerprinting because of the proximity to the most recent one. So to the extent it's required, he'll certainly submit to another fingerprinting, but we did ask for that waiver. Otherwise, the police department has the full application in terms of the background check.
Thank you, Chris.
Mr. Hughes. Thank you, Mr. Minks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, Council President, Mayor and council members. Want to thank for the opportunity to speak here this evening and certainly fill in any blanks that you may have of the process. I know this is not often how liquor licenses come before the governing body, but I do want to say on behalf of the agency and certainly on behalf of the redeveloper as well, thank you for the consideration of the ordinance. It is a testament to the work and the experience of those who are sitting up there that were able to move forward in this fashion. I think, your township attorney, Mike Baker, said it well. The majority of liquor licenses, even when I sat up there, are given solely to the highest bidder. There's not consideration for the use, for the location, or any of those factors. But here, the township chose a different route, and one I would argue is a more thoughtful one. I think it's a really great example for you all to use of what happens when people know the process and the procedure, when people know the statute, and when people know the goals of a project and the municipality at large. Using the historical method in order to grant the liquor license allows the governing body to weigh additional factors like the location, like economic growth, stimulus that could be provided by having an establishment with their liquor license included within the zone. The township sets a minimum floor of a price, and responsible bidders are welcome to submit a proposal for it. As Chris Minks, who's the chief legal officer of Russo Development, spoke about before, this is going to be used with the aim of having a signature restaurant in phase one of the redevelopment project. We, as a redevelopment agency, and I know the redeveloper, and I know all of you sitting on council have heard, I think, the desires and the suggestions of residents here in town, looking for more diverse options, I think, when it comes to restaurants here. A key component to lure that type of destination or signature restaurant is somewhat intuitively a liquor license. So really, this is critical for that. So I appreciate, the creativity displayed up there and the desire to do things a little differently in order to ensure the success of what I would consider somewhat selfishly to be the most important project here in town. So I'm here on behalf of the agency. If you do have any questions on that, if you do have questions on procedure, I will defer to the two attorneys present who probably have more of the procedural knowledge that I have. But really, I'm here just to thank you for moving forward, and it's just going to be another step in the process to create a successful redevelopment on Route 18. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Mr. Baker?
Is there anyone else in the public who'd like to be heard on this hearing? I don't see any, Council President. You can then close the public hearing.
We shall close the public portion of the hearing, and let's move on. Let's move on to reports. Mayor Cohn?
Thank you, Council President. Three quick things. One, just wanted to remind council and the public that we're expecting response to the bids on the refuse contract. As most of you know, our garbage contract expires the end of this year, so we went out for bids, waiting for those to be opened on Thursday, hoping we have some responses. And as soon as we have information on that, we'll let the public know. Clearly, we are facing right now an environment where most towns are getting 50% plus increases in the cost of refuse. It's a problem across the state. So I make no expectation that we wouldn't be in any different of a position. We will absolutely likely face a higher price than what we've been in the past. And we will bring that to everybody's attention as soon as we have that. And but it will affect budgetary issues going forward next year if we have to deal with a significant increase in the cost of garbage. In terms of roads, many of the big projects that we wanted to get started on have already started to become complete. Most of our road projects that we had contracted for this year, Township projects, are already done. The last big one that we needed to do was Buttonwood, which is out by right off of Sunburst. It was a big problem because you couldn't really do that during the school year, so we had to wait for school to be finished so that people could park completely out of that very, very crowded community. But everybody was cooperative. We didn't get one complaint, and the project actually got completed ahead of schedule, so they did a great job, and it looks great. Whitehall, which is a Transportation Trust Fund funded project, along with water utility work, because some of it involved work that needed to be done to water lines, is almost done. And we should start to see the Tice's road, is it road? Lane. Doesn't look like a lane. Tice's Lane project is getting started as we speak. There's going to be starting on the area of Tice's from Old Bridge Turnpike to Route 18, and then the rest of that funding from Transportation Trust Fund goes from University to Riders. All of the work that's in between those two are parts of commitments by the developers of the two projects that abut those areas of Tice's Lane. You could already go out and see that much of the work that Garden Homes or the Legacy project had promised to do, they've already started to do. Now they just have to wait for PSC&G to activate the lights so that that intersection can be activated, and then ultimately people will be able to be diverted off of Tice's through Renee Road and out to Route 18 that way, thereby alleviating a lot of the traffic issues on Tice's. The project, or the portion of the road between University and Little Past Hearts, is a project and portion that was supposed to have been completed by the people of the developer who was going to be doing Hidden Oaks. That unfortunately hasn't been done yet, and the developer has been sort of radio silent on committing to finishing his portion of the road. So unfortunately, you're going to have that little section in the middle of Tice's not done. The rest of it will be done. And then finally, some good news. We do have our rates from the county on what the tax rates are for each of the taxing bodies that the township's required to bill for, in addition to our own taxes. So we got the tax rate for the schools, the county, and the fire districts. And as it turns out, the estimate that we put in on the third quarter is higher than we needed. Taxes came in pretty much flat this year, so you will see a decrease in your fourth quarter payment to make up for the fact that we assumed a slightly higher tax rate by putting out estimated tax bills that were higher than what the final bill's actually going to be. So that difference will be made up in the fourth quarter. And those bills should be going out in September. So I want to thank everybody for being patient. And a lot of stuff going on right now, but it's all exciting. And I thank all of you for cooperating. Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Criscuolo, our business administrator.
No report. The mayor covered everything.
Mr. Baker, our township attorney.
No report, Council President.
Thank you. Ms. Lawful, our township clerk.
No report.
Councilmen, councilwomen, anything?
Yes, thank you.
Councilman Zambicki?
Thank you. Rec and Parks report. We're celebrating Dogist right now. Throughout the month of August, you can submit photos of your dog based on a weekly theme. And every Thursday, there's special celebrations. This Thursday from 6 to 7 at the dog park, there is a toy giveaway that's sponsored by Recs and Parks and also PetSmart in East Brunswick. And from 6 to 7, also this Thursday at Bicentennial Park, the first 100 visitors will be treated to a hot dog, human people. Not a dog. And all of this can be found on the website, Facebook, and Instagram. Elite Fitness is partnering with Recs and Parks for the 3rd annual Field Day at Bicentennial Park on September 9th from 8 to 10 a.m. All proceeds from this event will be donated to Replenish to fill up the food bank, so that's an awesome thing. EB Rec and Parks, along with the Arts Commission, are looking for vendors for the Winter Wonderland at the Municipal Building on December 3rd. This year, it will be an all-day event, starting at 11:30 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. with our annual holiday lighting. Please visit the Facebook page, website, and Instagram for more. And of course, through the month of August, I think we have, 2 more Mondays? We have Acoustic Mondays at 7 o'clock, as it was out there tonight. That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let's move on to our public comment and portion of the meeting. Township Clerk, would you read the public comment statement?
A public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to address the chair? Please.
Mayor, council member. My name is Rafiq Dawood. I'm resident of East Brunswick for 15 years now. I moved to my house on Willow Street back in 2008. Give you an idea about the area. It's Willow Street, sandwiched between Route 18 and Old Bridge Turnpike, with grid of streets crossing between Old Bridge Turnpike and Route 18, crossing Willow Street and Joseph. Occasionally we run into situation where speeding car will try to zip through, trying to avoid the traffic on Old Bridge Turnpike, or cars will just completely ignore the stop sign on Willow Street. We have kids. I got an accident myself. Someone got through the stop sign. 2 of my neighbors had the same situation. So, and we called to complain about this issue. Few weeks back, we start seeing Township planning for signs. So kind of excited, maybe signs for slow down, speed limits, stuff like that. However, we're extremely disappointed to see the sign are to limit parking in my neighborhood street, residential street, to 2 hours. Was extremely disappointed. I spoke with my neighbors. That ordinance impact 10 homes on my block, from Arthur into Willow Street, 4 homes on each side, or 5 homes. And the sign saying no parking, 2 hours limit, does not give any leeway for residents, visitors, nothing. And I came to the township a couple of times trying to figure out what's going on. Apparently there's township or someone's not happy that a couple of commuters are parking on Willow Street. So now the township passing this ordinance saying no parking, 2 hours, period. It's extremely disappointing. And I'm sure any one of you will have this posted in front of your house, how you can deal with that. I have family visiting, I have a company car, could be rented car, how I can deal with that. Why this was not taken into consideration when the ordinance passed, saying we need to give something to the residents. I spoke with every single house impacted with this, every single resident. No one is happy with that.
So
Council President?
This is Willow, Arthur.
Yeah, can I interrupt you
Joseph?
for a second?
Mr. Chris School?
There, on tonight's council agenda, ordinance number 23-24, after conversations with Tamar and I had talked about this, and members of the police department, there is an ordinance on there, and in the area which he's talking about, you'll
Right.
notice that residents of a specific street referenced in this provision of it, 209-44, and these sections are exempt from the enforcement of parking restrictions on the street they reside. So Wade Gordon, the captains and the chief got together after we received a call from this resident, and they're suggesting this change.
Right.
That people that live on that street will be exempt.
Okay. And we're voting on that this evening. Mr. Baker?
This will address my personal car. What about visitors? I have a visitor coming by. Is still exempt as well?
Company, right?
So to the residents
Yeah.
and your visitors as well.
Will it be permanent?
So will the sign be changed?
That's up to the police department.
Okay. You're welcome.
Sir, before you go, can you please just state your name and address for the record?
Rafik Dawood? Rafekdawod.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Dawod.
D-A-W?
OD.
O-D, okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the chair? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. And resolution number 23-231, Township Clerk, will you read, please?
Resolution authorizing the renewal of an alcoholic beverage license in the Township of East Brunswick for the year 2023-2024.
We have a motion
Motion to adopt.
and a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion from council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Consent agenda, resolutions, anything need to be separated? Let's go with a motion for Resolution 23-232 through Resolution 23-241.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll, please.
42.
42, I'm sorry, sir.
42.
I'm looking at our notes.
Yes.
Let me make sure I'm, right, 23-242, approval of our bill list.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance 23-23, Council Clerk, would you please read that? And these new are scheduled for hearing dates of August 28th, 2023. I beg your pardon.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the approving of the assignment of the financial agreement for 39 Edgeboro Road, Block 834, lots 34.11, 4.19, 4.23, and 4.17 from 39 Edgeboro Road, Urban Renewal LLC to Signal Borrower Renewal LLC.
We have a motion
Motion to adopt.
and a second.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Criscuolo, would you, Mr. Baker, would you clarify this, make some comments?
Thank you, Council President. About 3 years ago, the council approved a financial agreement, which is also known as a pilot, for the project that was a redevelopment project at 39 Edgeboro Road. That project is now completed, and the developer of that site is selling the property. It's being sold to Edgeboro Road, to Signal Borrower Renewer LLC, which is owned by BlackRock, one of the largest private equity firms in the world. I think they have close to $1 trillion or more in assets under management. Whenever a request comes in like this, the governing body needs to give its consent. Your staff does background checks on the financial viability of the purchasers to make sure that they can continue to meet the obligations under the pilot. We're comfortable with that. Because this was initially approved by an ordinance, the transfer needs to be approved by an ordinance to the new owner. The current owner of the property has paid all the pilot payments due, including a true-up last month, and has also paid the assignment fee to the township. So everything is in order for this assignment to proceed.
Okay. Does council have any questions or clarifications on this issue? Township Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes, ordinance number 23-24. Township Clerk, would you please read?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 209, Section 11, entitled Parking Time Limited, and Section 44, entitled Schedule 5, Time Limit Parking, of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick to exempt certain residents from time-limited parking restrictions.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Criscuolo, would you clarify some of this once again?
The ordinance that this gentleman came to the dais about, was concerned about, where there's 2-hour time limit parking on any roadway. If you live on that roadway, your residence is there, you'd be exempt from this particular restriction.
Thank you.
Wait.
Mayor Cohn.
And I think that applies to the guests, which is what the gentleman was asking about. The goal of the ordinance, as I understand it, is to prevent spots being taken up by people who are looking to get onto the bus and are now parking on your street and actually preventing you from using spots that are on your street. The intention, the enforcement will be through the police department. We're hoping that residents would report those individuals who are parking on that street, and you know darn well they're just walking right over to a bus stop, and because we would otherwise not have any way of really knowing whose car belongs to who. But the residents on the street do, and if you see people who are constantly parking on the street and then walking over to pick up a bus, we would hope that you would participate in identifying those individuals so that the police can enforce the ordinance that we're considering here right now. But it is not meant to target the residents that live there, nor their use of the spots on that road.
And therefore, if this ordinance does get passed, thank you for coming out this evening. Any comments from council? Roll, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
For the good of the cause. Mr. Baker.
I want to thank our municipal clerk for flagging the idea of the historical liquor license issuance and for working tirelessly with my partner Anthony Iacoca through a very complex notice process to get this done and before the council.
Thank you. Mayor Cohn?
Just wanted to ditto that fact that we all know that since we started the redevelopment process, I know Jimmy and I go back now years on this, and this is something that we were hoping that the state of New Jersey would actually try to put through some kind of legislation that would allow areas that are trying to redevelop throughout the state, East Brunswick is certainly not the only one, to have a mechanism to stimulate business, entertainment, and growth in those regions. It just hasn't done so far. And having this mechanism to be able to stimulate the area in our town where we're looking to redevelop is I think is going to be a key factor in trying to help attract some of the nicer restaurants that we all would like to see here. But as most people know, margins in the restaurant industry is not that great. So the only way that you could really encourage that type of growth is through liquor licenses, which are so difficult and so expensive to obtain. Rob Zuckerman, our economic development officer, was down at the International Shopping Center Convention, and there's some really great concepts of restaurants and different type of facilities that are opening up all throughout the United States. But the one region that none of those companies will, the one state that none of those companies will touch is New Jersey, because the cost of a liquor license is so hard. You go to Vermont and open up a restaurant, and you go to the clerk, and they ask you, would you like a liquor license? And you say yes, and they say, well, how much is it? And the clerk will tell you it's $500, and the person will say, $500,000? No, $500. $500. It's $500,000 here. So nobody can really afford, unless you're a major company, to purchase a liquor license if there's one even available. So I think that what we're doing tonight is long overdue. I think you made the right decision, and I think it's going to play out well in terms of trying to make successful a corridor we spent an awful lot of time trying to turn around. So thank you.
I received a letter from Assemblyman Karabinchak, and starting in the fall of 2023, resident senior renters and homeowners will receive an increased anchor property tax relief check for $250. Assemblyman Karabinchak goes on to tell me that this is just the beginning. Under the Stay New Jersey program, seniors will experience a remarkable 50% reduction in their property taxes, with potential savings of up to $6,500 annually. In order to stay on top of this, Assemblyman Karabinchak is asking residents to go to the website of www.nj.gov/treasury/taxation/relief for further information. Phone number is 732-584-1406. Once again, sometimes just easier on the phone, 732-548-1406. And this is something that is a serious issue for our seniors. And motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Say aye in favor? Aye. Guys have it. Good night.